I am the sole survivor of the Asgard fleet, until I found a distress signal broadcast from my own destroyed flagship. For 6 months, silence has been my only companion. Silence and the cold, indifferent hum of the Nyx's life support. My long-range scout ship is a needle lost in the infinite black, a fugitive from a battle that erased a civilization. I, Commander Kalen, am the last ember of Asgard. I watched the void wraiths descend upon us, a storm of shadows and crimson energy that tore our dreadnoughts apart like parchment. I watched the Valkyrie, my flagship, my home, shatter against the dark. I saw its core breach, a silent, blossoming nova that consumed my crew, my family, my entire world. I fled. That is the truth I live with. I ran, obeying the final, desperate order of my second-in-command as she diverted the Wraith's attention. Now, I just exist. I drift through uncharted space, cataloging dead stars, my only purpose to carry the memory of those I lost. Until today. The short-range comms array, dormant since the battle, suddenly flared to life. A jagged spike of data cut through the ambient static. It was weak, corrupted, but unmistakably Asgardian, a Priority 1 encryption I hadn't seen used in years. My fingers, trembling, moved over the console. The decryption matrix struggled, the system groaning as it processed the ghost in the machine. Then, the call sign identifiers materialized on my screen. AFS, Valkyrie. My blood turned to ice. It was impossible, a phantom, a cruel glitch in the Nyx's decaying systems. The Valkyrie was atoms scattered across the Cygnus graveyard, 3 sectors away. But the signal wasn't coming from Cygnus. It was coming from a point just 3 light hours off my bow. And it was repeating. A voice, buried in static, clawed its way into my cockpit. Mayday, Mayday, this is Commander Kalen. We are static. Alive. The core. Stable. Find us. Find us. It was my own voice. My own voice. A dead woman's voice. Broadcast from a dead ship. For a moment, the cockpit of the Nyx spun. I thought the solitude had finally broken me, that this was the first fissure of madness. But the signal was stable. The coordinates were locked. It was real. A new emotion, one I thought long buried with my crew, clawed its way up my throat. Hope. A terrible, venomous hope. If the Valkyrie was there, if I was there, could others be? Could the battle have been a lie? A simulation? A localized anomaly? I rerouted all remaining power to the Nyx's primary drive. The small scout ship shuddered, protesting the strain, but it obeyed. 3 hours. 3 hours to rewrite the history that had haunted me for 6 months. When I dropped out of FTL, the sight before me stole my breath. It was the Valkyrie, but it was wrong. Horribly wrong. This was not the proud flagship I commanded. The vessel I saw was ancient, skeletal. Its silver hull was corroded, pockmarked by micrometeors and coated in a strange, sickly crystalline patina. Vast sections were missing, not blown apart by wraith cannons, but seemingly eaten away, the edges dissolving into the vacuum. It was a ghost ship, a derelict that looked as if it had been drifting for a millennium, not half a year. Yet, there it was, the AFS Valkyrie. And from its dark, silent heart, my own voice called for help. I maneuvered the Nyx toward the main hangar bay. The colossal doors were partially open, frozen like a jaw locked in a silent scream. I slipped my small ship inside, landing on the flight deck with a heavy magnetic thud that echoed into an oppressive silence. The internal atmosphere was thin, barely breathable, tasting of ozone and dust. My sidearm felt impossibly small as I stepped out, my helmet's external microphone amplifying the sound of my own panicked breathing. The hangar was empty. No shuttles, no flight crews, no bodies. Just dust. Thick gray dust that coated every surface, disturbed only by my own boot prints. The distress signal was a digital breadcrumb, leading me deeper into the ship. I moved through the Grand Promenade, past the crew quarters, through the medbay. The lights I knew like the back of my hand were now alien territory. The lights were dead, my helmet lamp cutting a desperate cone into the oppressive dark. The ship was cold, a deep, penetrating cold that the Nyx's encounter suit struggled to repel. I reached the bulkhead of the command bridge. The doors were sealed, emergency locks engaged. The signal was pulsing, stronger now, just on the other side. I used my command override, the ancient mechanisms groaning in protest, before the doors scraped open. The bridge was a tomb. The main view screen was a fractured web of glass, the void itself seeming to press inward. Consoles were dark save for one, the command chair. A figure was slumped in it. I approached slowly, my pulse hammering against my ribs. The figure wore the dark blue uniform of an Asgardian sleet commander. My uniform. I reached out a trembling gloved hand and touched the shoulder. The body was desiccated, a mummified husk, skin like brittle parchment stretched over a skeleton. It was impossible to recognize. But pinned to its collar were my command pips, and clutched in its skeletal hand was a data slate, the screen flickering with the last dregs of power. It wasn't the source of the audio signal. That was coming from the main comm station. But this was a message. I took the slate. It contained a single corrupted video file. I activated it. My own face stared back at me. But it wasn't me. This Kalen was older, his face gaunt, his eyes burning with a desperate, terrifying light. A fresh wound wept blood on his temple. He wasn't looking at the camera, but past it, at something in the shadows of his bridge. If you're seeing this, if I'm seeing this, it's already too late. He laughed, a dry, horrifying sound. I thought I survived. I thought I was the only one. But I wasn't. It let me go. My blood froze. What let you go? I whispered to the recording. It doesn't kill, the other Kalen choked out, his eyes finally snapping to the lens, staring directly at me. The Wraiths, they just clear the field. They're the predators. This is the virus. It finds the lonely ones, the survivors. It isolated me, and it started to change me, to rewrite me. He held up his hand. It was trembling, the skin rippling as if something was moving beneath it. I sent the distress signal, he screamed, tears streaming down his ruined face. My last act of defiance, a warning. I broadcast my own voice, my own call sign, looping it. But it found out. It's smart. It twisted the signal. It didn't make it a warning. It made it an invitation. The recording's eyes went wide with a final, soul-shattering realization. It's not a trap for the Wraiths. It's not a trap for a rescue fleet. A slow, heavy thud echoed from the corridor directly behind me. The real corridor. On the screen, my double whispered his final words. It's a trap for you. The slate died. The audio signal of my own voice cut to static. And in the sudden, absolute silence of the tomb ship, I heard something take a slow, wet breath in the darkness behind the command chair.
I spun, my sidearm snapping up, its beam cutting the darkness. It was me. Or a mockery of me. It rose from the shadows behind the command chair, the mummified corpse from the slate still clutched in its hand like a discarded puppet. This thing was tall and thin, its limbs elongated, the Asgardian uniform stretched and torn over a frame that was no longer human. Its face was mine, but the skin was the color of ash, and its eyes were voids, two black pits of ancient patient hunger. We don't have to be alone anymore, it hissed. The voice was a dreadful chorus, my own voice layered with 1,000 others, scraping against each other. It took a step, and the crystalline patina I had seen on the hull spread across the floor from its feet. It wasn't just a virus, it was a terraformer, and I was the territory it sought to claim. You are not me, I snarled, my voice trembling. I am the true survivor. You are just the echo, the one that ran. We endured, we waited, and you came. You always come. It lunged, not with physical speed, but with a psychic weight that buckled my knees. The air grew thick, my thoughts fogging. Solitude, guilt, the faces of my crew burning in the Valkyrie's core. It was offering me oblivion, an end to the pain. But the recording, the other Kalen, he hadn't just left a warning. He had left a key. The core is stable. A lie, a lure, but the core was present. I broke from the mental assault, firing my weapon. The energy bolt struck the creature and it recoiled, not in pain, but in annoyance. The flesh rippled, revealing a dark geometric framework beneath. I didn't wait to see more. I lunged for the engineering console. The trap was not for you, I yelled, slamming my gauntlet on the emergency panel. It was for you. The console was dead, but the manual override for the core containment was physical. I triggered the release. A single wailing alarm, the ship's dying scream echoed through the metal. A countdown flashed on the cracked screen. 2 minutes. No! The entity shrieked. It abandoned its human-like posture, dropping to all fours as the shadow beneath its skin erupted, tendrils of solid darkness lashing out. It scrambled across the deck, a spider made of nightmares. I ran. I bolted from the bridge, down the black corridors. The ship was groaning, the ancient metal crying out as the magnetic containment field began to fail. I could hear it behind me, its many-voiced howl echoing through the ship. I didn't look back. I burst into the hangar bay, the Nyx a beacon of safety in the vast tomb. I sprinted up the ramp, sealing the cockpit behind me. The engines flared to life as the entity appeared in the hangar entrance. It was no longer me. It was a towering column of writhing crystalline shadow. I slammed the thrusters and the Nyx shot forward, rocketing out of the hangar bay and into the void. I didn't stop. I pushed the drive until the stabilizers screamed. In my rearview monitor, the Valkyrie convulsed. It folded in on itself, a star-sized flower closing its petals. Then, with a flash that overwhelmed my sensors, it detonated. It didn't explode. It was erased. The shockwave hit my ship, sending me into a desperate spin. I fought the controls, my knuckles white, until the Nyx stabilized. Silence. I looked at my leg where the terror had brushed me. The suit was intact. The scanners were clean. I was alone. Finally, and completely. The sole survivor. I set a course for the deepest, most uncharted sector I could find. My hands were steady now. The ghost was gone. The silence was peaceful. And then an alert pinged. It wasn't from the comms array. It was from the quantum entanglement receiver, an experimental piece of tech, Asgard tech. But we had never made it work. It was decrypting a message, not a distress call, a simple audio file. A new voice, smooth and cold as polished steel, filled my cockpit. Commander Kalen, congratulations. The test is complete. The Valkyrie was the chrysalis. We were concerned which of you would emerge. We are pleased the true survivor is now free. Phase 2 may now begin.